So I just wanted to make a real quick video about the M855A1. We're just going to be shooting it out of a 16-inch Daniel Defense rifle and an 11.5-inch BCM rifle. We'll be shooting one group with the 16-inch rifle, and we'll be shooting both of them in ballistic gel. The reason I'm doing just one 4-shot group is because I don't have a whole lot of this stuff and I didn't care to buy any more. The only reason I got any was Chris Costa does some trainings at our local range here sometimes, and he was doing a training with some Army group in 2019, and I noticed they had a bunch of this stuff, and so I just was watching them for a little bit, and when they would like clear to come back to the line, they would just drop the mag and eject it on the ground. So I was like, oh, well, I'll be coming back here later for those. And so me and a friend did, and we picked up quite a bit, so probably like 30 rounds, and I've shot a couple over the years, and I ended up having 9 left. So anyways, I shot a 4-round group with the 16-inch rifle and shot them both into gel. So here's me shooting the group at 110 yards, I think it was. Better than I thought. Okay, so again, this is a 4-round group. It's just one 4-round group, so I'm not sure how statistically relevant this is, but it shot way better than I was expecting. I was kind of expecting it to shoot like 2.5+ inches because the bullet design is weird, and I just didn't have much confidence in it, honestly. So 4 rounds, 0.91. Oh, and it was 112 yards just because that's the only place I could find like some rocks to stabilize this target was 112 yards. So average velocity of 3,027.9 feet per second. So that's not bad at all. Lately I've been hearing people talk about how they've reduced the chamber pressures for this round because bolts were breaking in like 3,000 rounds and barrel life was reduced by like 50%. I don't know about all that. It's all government studies, and I don't know, I don't put a lot of stock into that because those velocities are high, but they're not crazy, because we've seen, just in my last video, some 62 grain ball ammo going, I think it was faster, just as fast as that, but this is a longer bullet because it's steel, not lead, and there's a lot that goes into it, but the velocities aren't insane. But they do seem to be faster than they are being produced today, because like I said, I picked these up in like 2018 or 2019, and Military Arms Channel did a video on his, and I think he was getting about that same velocity, but from an 18-inch barrel, so it does seem like the chamber pressures have been reduced. I was looking at the case, and there doesn't seem to be any like obvious pressure signs, but that doesn't mean it's not overpressure. So for the ballistic gel test, I just shot them both at like 5 yards, and here's how they performed. All right, so the wound cavity from the M855A1 from the BCM 11.5-inch looks pretty great. So the jacket that's surrounding the steel penetrator broke apart and fragmented, and all those fragments are about 4 inches in the gel. And then what's kind of interesting is we've got 2 really distinct wound cavities. It almost looks like 2 bullets were tumbling through there, but there at the bottom we've got just a tiny little piece of jacket that, well, it's bigger than the rest of the pieces, but it just kind of sailed through and made a fairly large wound cavity. Right at the peak, it's like 0.8 inches. And then right above that, where I assume it's the steel penetrator that went out, it's about just barely over 1 inch, and then it just pencil holed out of the end. Like it took me a while to find the hole in the back of it because it was super tiny. So, but yeah, looks pretty great. So the wound cavity from the M855A1 out of the 16-inch Daniel Defense barrel looks more or less identical. You can sort of tell this one was going a little bit faster because we had some pieces of the jacket penetrate a little further. Most of them are still within that 4 inches, and then the we got that same weird thing. It looks like there's 2 distinct wound cavities. Both of them exited though in this case, just left tiny little pinholes, and the wound tracks themselves are a little bit bigger than the 11.5-inch barrel, but more or less really close, like almost identical, just a touch bigger. So the wound cavities seem pretty good. I'm no ballistician, so it's hard to really read what you're looking at, but just my bias, I kind of would have liked to see the petals of the jacket penetrate deeper. The wound track, it looks really similar to me, like the G2 Research RIP ammo. It's kind of gimmicky and crappy, just where the base penetrates far, and then you got these petals that kind of break off. This reminded me of that when I saw it. Obviously it's a rifle round, so it's going to be way more effective, but it looks cool, and I'm sure it's still a rifle round. It's going to be good, but I still prefer the 77 grain ammo, and it's a lot cheaper. So obviously I don't recommend you go out and stockpile a bunch of this stuff, because the bare steel tip will chew up your feed ramps, and if they are having pressure issues, then it's just kind of, it's not worth it. Like, the government doesn't make great decisions in anything else they do, so I don't know why people assume that they make good decisions when it comes to purchasing ammo, but people seem to think if the government's using it, it's great, but I don't think it's all that. This was just more of a novelty video, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.